Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and it's June 25th of 2025, and it's Wednesday. Time for our card lesson that we usually do every week. And I am so excited to share with you today one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Suites called Botanical Textures. So, we're coming to the end of the June sale where it's buy one, get one 50% off on all items that are part of a suite. So it's for an entire suite of Stampin' Up! Products or anything in those suites. And if you buy one thing and then buy another thing that is in the suite, whether it be a whole collection or embellishments or a stamp set, you get either an equal price or whichever is the lower price item for 50% off, which is an awesome deal. So I'll just remind you that that is going to be coming to an end June 30th. And so if you have things that are in the suites, don't miss out on this great deal to save some money. Anyway, welcome, Betty. Hope you're having a good day in Michigan. It's a good day here in Madison, Wisconsin, but it is a little cloudy. So let me go ahead and show you the desktop, and let me just remind you what's in this suite. And then I can't wait to put together a really cool card today for a favorite guy in your life for their birthday. Everyone tells me it's so hard to, find birthday cards for guys or to have ideas for that. So that's what today is all about. Now, this texture set of designer series paper, I better find the right name. It's called Woven Textures, and it has basic beige, crumb cake, early espresso, gray granite, and pecan pie. So lots of guy-like colors. Believe it or not, one of my husband's two favorite colors is brown. His number one favorite color is brown. He had a brown truck, so he still has a brown truck. Anyway, I can't imagine that being a favorite, except it does remind me of nature, and for that reason, I like it. But I like the textures that you find in nature that are brown. Hi, Patricia. Thanks for joining. So let's see. What I've been doing is making a number of cards for some swaps that I'm going to be going to soon. So I was looking at, designs and what could I do, and I pulled out this paper. And I had to make 18 cards. So I had a lot of, scraps that were coming from this set because I decided to use this whole suite to make my card. So I thought, why not use that for a masculine birthday card today? So this is one of the sets of designer series paper that's in the Botanical Textures suite. Let me set that aside. You're going to see how I use that on the card in just a minute. But one of the awesome things about this suite is there is a second set of 12 by 12 designer series paper. Now this one is all in black and white, and it's called Botanical Textures, but yet they're all in black and white, and you can see a number of them here. So just FYI. And then this has a stamp set and dies that go with it. Now, I'm not going to use the dies today because I already had scraps that were cut, so I thought, why double cut them, right? But what's really cool about these rectangles is each one has a different design that gets cut out when you use that rectangle. So it makes very unique cards, and this I know will be a die set that will stay near my emboss and cut machine because I'll use these all the time. So they're great rectangles. And then I find myself drawn to this stamp set over and over. It's a wonderful thank you sentiment. I love the size of this. I would consider it to be a medium size sentiment. I like a little note of appreciation, and you are seriously the best. And then these texture stamps and these two botanicals, if you will, I have found so much use for. Anyway, I am getting my money's worth out of this stamp set. So let's go to today. And I guess I'm really kind of going to my husband's favorite color. So I decided that the card base today is going to be pecan pie. And this is just a half a piece of 8.5 by 11. So it's 8.5 by 5.5. And then I scored it here at 4.25. And I am just going to use my bone folder to make my usual card base. And this is going to fit in a medium A2 envelope. All right. Easy peasy. So we've got our card base. Then one of those scraps that I had, my normal card layer, I guess the one I like to go to for DSP, 4 inches by 5.25. So this is very much a go-to for me. And I am just going to layer that right on top here. And wow, I really have 2 beautiful textures to use. Hard to pick which one to use, but I'm going to use that other side. So just put a little glue on here, just around the edges, a little bit in the middle, and don't have to use a lot. This glue is great. And I'm just going to center that on my card front, and I love that it's got that slide factor as the liquid glue. So, all right, we've got a beginning. I'm really going to take advantage of all these scraps I have. So here I have another one, and this one was a little smaller. So this is 3.5 by, actually a little bit more than 4.5, but basically 4.5. And I am just going to center that on here, and to make it fit perfect so that all sides are the same, I'd have to cut a little off, but I'm not going to do that because I would just end up wasting that paper. And the fact that this isn't exactly the same amount all the way around doesn't matter. I think it looks pretty just the way it is. So we've got that layer. All right, so now I was like, what's my focal image going to be all about? And I actually have more of this texture, or I can use it the other way. I think I'm not going to mix up another one, so I'm going to use this. And I think I am going to give this a trim. So my, options are going all the way to the edge of the card, all the way to match the layer that matches this DSP, or just bring it together over the last pattern, that I have. And since it matches this, I think I'm just going to put it right across this last pattern. So let me just measure this again. So as I said, it's a little bit, this is 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to grab my trimmer and go ahead and trim that. Hi, Holly, and hi, Betty. So let's make this 3.5. All right. And before I actually glue that down, I'm going to figure out what else I want to do with the front of my card. So I leave my options open, okay? So one of the things that I was thinking about doing was using some of the texture. So this is very linear, a lot of rectangle. I wanted to introduce something round in here. So I liked this texture stamp. Let me just grab a scrap of Very Vanilla. And although there is white kind of in the back of this, this is speaking to me and saying very vanilla, very vanilla. So I'm going to use Very Vanilla and kind of keep this on the down low and not use a brighter white. And let me I'm going to use the pumpkin pie so that this kind of just blends with the card base that I have. So let's do, just get this inked up here and make sure. I have found this stamp in particular has a pretty big area that isn't necessarily trimmed. I might find myself trimming this off. When they die cut it at the factory, this has, you know, that ring around it, and I don't want to create a halo. And what a halo is when you'll see the line of this ink if I hadn't looked at it and wiped it off. And I don't want that on my card. And I am going to be punching this out, so I guess it wouldn't be all that bad. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you, because this kind of, as I was working on this design, a little aggravating. Let me show you what I'm talking about, is when I punch this out using my 2-inch punch, there is going to be some very vanilla around the edges. Can you see that? Now, that's not the end of the world, but I can actually make that look a little better by just bringing in my blending brush. And let's see if I have any. Well, if I get on this cardstock, that's okay, but maybe I can be kind of neat. What I'm going to do is just blend right around that circle. I'm going to start it over here, though, off of where I want it to go, because I don't want a dark thing of color. And then I'm going to go in the center here, and I'm going to go really light, and then I'm going to go out around the edges, trying to blend this color a little bit. My new favorite thing to do is blending a little color on cardstock at the top or bottom of it. And it makes such a difference. All right, so you can tell I have a little, color around here so that it's not such a, drastic difference. And then another option I'm thinking about is putting another layer on the front here. And so this isn't such a stark contrast. I'm going to do the same thing with this. So just take some of this, and I am going to start off the paper, and I'm just going to go very lightly, really light around all of this. Okay. And now it's kind of got different tones, and I really like that. And then, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing to the card insert. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And it's really just going to soften this whole card up and also make it look like I'm using paper, that has a little color to it and not just the stark, very vanilla. So I'm just going to kind of do that all over. Leave a little, not as much in the center. Okay. So there, now I'm feeling a little bit better about that. Let me move my ink aside, or I'll be putting something in there I'm not intending. But now let's go ahead and punch out our textured circle there. And okay, so one choice I have is I can just leave this in the center. I did a little fussy cutting. Now, I did not blend this before I punched it. I'm sorry, before I stamped it and then fussy cut it. But let me just show you. So one thing you could do is just put this behind. And maybe having the lighter cardstock behind that does make that pop a little bit. If you don't like it, you could use the blending brush on that as well. Okay. The other thing, and the way I decided to go was I'm going to add another layer and actually for those of you that don't like fussy cutting, make this a little easier by putting this behind here and putting this here. And now I'm actually just going to stamp the foliage behind it. And I don't have to fussy cut it. So I'm kind of, eyeballing where this all is. And then I'm going to, now you could do a different color or continue in brown. I'm kind of going to do a more monochromatic design here with a pop at the end. So I'm just inking this up. And the cool thing about this stamp is it already has different shades and dimensions. So some of the leaves are lighter and some are darker, which is really nice. And I'm going to just do what I had done with those fussy cut leaves and just put 2 sprigs on here. And let's see how we like that. So I'll kind of put this down. And then put my circle there. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to cut just a little bit of this off so I can see a little bit more of that texture. Kind of as I'm looking at it now, I think I covered up too much of that really pretty designer series paper. So let me just give this a little trim. Hi, Kathy. So let's see. Right now, this is about a little over 4 inches. Let's see what it looks like at 3/4. I think I'm going to like that a little bit better. All right, I like that you can see more of this. And then we'll put this on here. And this. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to first glue down this one. I am going to glue down, I'll decide about the sentiment, but otherwise I'm going to glue this all down because I really have a number of layers here already. So let's put this up a little bit so we have room to work on the bottom with the sentiment. All right, and then I'm going to, I want that to match, right? So I'll put the glue on this side. Oh, why this is asking me. I hope you're not seeing it, but on my screen, I am getting a Epson message for my printer right now. All right, let's see here. So we've got this, and I want to make sure that bottom has an area showing. There we go. And then I've got the textured area here, and this is where I'm going to put my sentiment, actually right here. And do I want to put, I think I'm going to put it off to the side a little bit. And I'm making this, as I said, a birthday card. So I'm in love with this happy birthday. And this is coming from the Tune In stamp set. And I know this has nothing to do with the TV or anything, but I love this happy birthday. And I like that you can put your classic or your super on the inside. So it's kind of fun. So I also remember when I like to follow my project design system, I think about the circumstance, which was a masculine birthday. And then I thought about what my resources were. Well, my resources were all about this botanical textures suite. And then technique, I decided that I was going to do monochromatic design, and I wanted to do some of my blending brush with my colors. Well, now my Z, what's going to make it pop? I am actually going to use Blueberry Bushel for the sentiment ink. I don't know about you, but I don't use this color enough, and it's really very pretty. So let me just slide that up a little bit. We'll get our stamp here. Now, this is kind of a wide sentiment, so I guess I am going to get my Pierce mat because this is a photopolymer stamp. And actually, I think I am going to stamp on the inside here too. So let me get that ready. I am going to say happy birthday, and I am going to say your super. So let me grab another acrylic block here. Get this lined up. Let's see if it fits on there. Ooh, not quite. A little bit bigger. All right. There, we've got that. And I'm going to add, I had another strip. And I'm going to put that on there before I do my stamping so that I don't misjudge how close the sentiment will be to the edge. Okay. Just going to put this toward the edge and leave a little stripe on there for interest. This does go a little bit past. Wasn't the perfect scrap. So let me just trim that. All right. Oh, and I got a little glue on there, but my adhesive eraser will take care of that when it dries. Now I'm ready to stamp. So let's go ahead and stamp our insert first. And this block is a lot bigger than my sentiment. So I really am going to look at the edges and make sure that I don't have Blueberry Bushel on the corners. And then I'm just going to stamp this right in the center. So we've got a wow on the card insert, and we're going to have a wow on the front of the card. Isn't that a pretty blue? I think this is the closest like to a navy blue. Night of Navy seems darker to me. But anyway, I love this blue. I just don't remember to use it a lot. So we've got our happy birthday. All right, now we can put those pieces together. Hi, Mary Ellen. Thank you so much for sharing this. Oh my, taking down the house next to you. Wow. All right, let's go ahead. Now, like I said, I think I will pop this up a little bit. So let me get some dimensionals and make that pop on the front. Now, if you wanted to leave this all monochromatic, you sure could. You know, you could have used just the pecan pie and had everything match. But I'd like to just zhuzh it up a little and add that Blueberry Bushel. Hi, Vicki. All right, and as I said, I'm going to leave this off to the side a bit. I think that adds a little too. And now we'll go ahead and put this inside our card. And I think, you know, look at the stark nature of this. And maybe you like that, but I liked the softness that just doing a little blending with my brush did. And I started doing this last week when I was at a event called Creativity Now. And they were blending some balmy blue on things that were using misty moonlight. And it just really changed the whole feeling of the card. So now I'm kind of doing that because I like the way it looked. All right, so we've got your super in here. And you know what? I think we have an awesome card for a favorite guy in your life for their birthday. And you know what a wonderful, this would be a very beautiful sympathy card as well. Just thinking of you, there's so many things that you could do for this card, but just trying to help everyone get that masculine birthday card that I know challenges you. Anyway, just some last minute reminders here that if anyone does a $50 purchase from Plum Crazy Stamping during the month of June, the Celebration Sips 4 card tutorial that I will send to you in the mail for free. Not mail, I'm sorry, email. And if you don't have this suite or this paper, you sure can use these ideas on anything that you do own to make some beautiful card designs. You know, it's nice to start with a design in mind and not have to start from zero. So this is an opportunity. Also, June 30th, I'm going to do a kit event. So anybody that is ordering paper pumpkin through Plum Crazy Stamping or orders a kit from me by the 30th will get free admission to that event. I think if it's you don't buy a kit, it's $9.95. But if you buy a kit or, as I said, are one of my subscribers, then you will get that for free. And I'm actually going to be highlighting 3 different kits and spending quite a bit of time on the new one called the Best of Blues, I think. It's gorgeous. It's the one that's in the catalog. And I'm also going to be showing the Heirloom Arrangements kit. That is the most popular kit right now. I just found that out today watching a message from the Stampin' Up! CEO. So I'll have some insight on that, and then I'll choose another one to highlight with you. Let's see. Last thing, I do have a couple more adhesive bundles left that are going at this 20% off limited time offer. I will be taking this from being a 20% discount by the end of the month. That is going to go away. And that has so much adhesive in here. It's actually, I had a $91 value on here, but it's actually $95 because the postage to send it to you went up $2. And I put Stampin' Seal Plus in it instead of just the regular Stampin' Seal. Plus you get dimensionals, large and regular, the mini glue dots, masking paper, the multi-purpose liquid glue, the tear and tape adhesive sheets, plus a bonus of the silicone mat when you're using your adhesives, the Pierce mat that I use for stamping, and a rubber adhesive eraser and ink smudge sand eraser, plus this free guide that I've created, which is a $9.95 value with all information about adhesives to help you make a decision about which adhesive to use for your different projects. And there are tips and kind of the things that I've learned along the way, all highlighted in here in purple. And as I said, this is free in addition to that $95 worth of product and shipping. And then a chart that's an easy reference that I adopted from Stampin' Up! To help you in using your adhesives. So if you're interested and you can't find this on my website or right here on my business page, just email me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Let me see. I can't move this thing off my screen. So, oh, there. No, I can't. No, there it goes. Okay. So let me just tune back in here and say thanks a lot for joining me today. It's been wonderful to share this really cool masculine birthday card with you. And once again, if there's anything I can do to help you with your paper crafting needs, I'm Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and I look forward to seeing you next week when we'll have something more and something fun to stamp together. So anyway, happy stamping, friends. Take care. Bye-bye now.